Rawr.
Bargaining chip should remain in play until the game is over. Yes.
Why do you always talk to yourself?
I simply have a penchant for intelligent conversation.
Hey guys, this is Awesome John 22, and that is right, boys and girls. I am coming at you today with a very special treat. One of my favorite figures, and I know probably one of yours. And the one, the only, Beast Wars Dragon Megatron. This is the character who really, I think, solidified Beast Wars as one of the greatest cartoons of my youth for me. This guy was not only Beast Wars Megatron, who was already a step up from G1 Megatron in his diabolicalness. He was also G1 Megatron because he carried G1 Megatron's spark within himself, and he was awesome. He was powerful, he was deadly, he was dangerous, he was scary. He was a powerhouse who was not to be reckoned with. He was a great villain. That's really the best way to put it. There is one problem, though. This toy is not as good as the character. I'm going to come right out and say it. It's a good toy, don't get me wrong, but it is not as good as the character, and we're going to find out why. First of all, here, we're going to take a look at the Dragon mode, which I think is by far the superior part of this toy. Zooming in, we can see fantastic detail on the face. You can see that chrome layer that a lot of the transmetals had. Looks very nice here. Very little chipping of that chrome layer anywhere on this figure. The chrome carries over into his neck. And my favorite part of the figure is the giant wings. And we're going to take a look at the giant wings in a minute. Just some fantastic paint detail all over the place. Some great gradients. And if I bring him up closer to the camera, we can see he does have a very cool gimmick in this mode. There is a switch on his back, and when you pull the switch on his back, his wings fan out. I really like that. I think that's a great gimmick. It's not intrusive, and it actually adds to the figure. Looking at his back, we can see some robot mode details that probably shouldn't be there. That right there is very clearly his head in robot mode. And then he does have this long tail, which is this rubbery plastic. So, you know, there's not a whole lot to it, but I think it looks good. And I really like how the sculpting here really matches up with those plates on his neck. And I'm having a hard time showing this guy in his full glory because this is a big toy. This was a Mega Class toy, which was the equivalent at the time of a Voyager Class. And to give you an idea of how big this Beast Mode is, I'm going to bring in a Leader Class toy. Here we have, again, animated Megatron. You can see Dragon Megatron is actually taller at the head than animated Megatron. And now, I want to point out that there is a reason for that. I do make one deliberate mistransformation of this guy. Looking at his legs here, adjusting my light a little bit to get a better view, we can see there is a hinge right there that, and a groove right here, that when you bend the hinge, his leg collapses up into itself like so. I prefer not to do this, even though it is part of the official Beast Mode transformation, as leaving his legs extended makes him a much taller and I think a much better proportioned dragon. Now it's really up to you what you do. This is just what I prefer. Overall, guys, though, I love this mode. I love this figure. And I'm going to try my best to really show you why I love this figure. And then I'm going to talk to you a little bit about why I don't like this figure as much as I probably should. Because, like I said, this figure does have its flaws. Now, getting into the transformation, it's actually really interesting. I really like the transformation on this guy because there's a lot of intricacies to it. First of all, we are going to come in here and we are going to detach the arms from the side of his torso. This will allow us to fold his wings back and just get them out of the way. Next, we're going to come down here to his, for lack of a better word, his crotch, and detach it from these panels that support his legs. This will allow us to, once we split the chest, which I always forget to do when I'm transforming this guy. Once we split open the chest, to bring this up, and then come here, split that off. In case you didn't see that, split that off there. Rotate his arm, what will be his arm, up, and bring it down. You can kind of see where this is going already, guys. There we go. Come down here. Bring these together. Now, getting all this in frame for you, we are going to actually take this and rotate it so that it's flat here, allowing us clearance to rotate these chest pieces around. Next, we're going to come back here to what is clearly his robot mode head, and we are going to detach it and rotate everything, like so. Then we're going to bring this down and just kind of leave it like that for now. Now, coming up here, you can see there's 2 tabs here and 2 holes. We're going to peg that in, come around to the back, close up his beast mode chest to kind of fill that area in. And now we are going to come here and we are going to rotate his tail around. Bring it down like so, and then come onto the back and lower this whole section down into his back. Bring these in and kind of just fold them up however you like. Coming back to the front of the figure, we rotate his dragon neck so that this bit is angled up, and then just collapse it in, and then collapse it down. And over here we're just going to bring this up and then straighten out his arm, which we can expose better by rotating this panel around. That leaves us with just the legs, which are as simple as rotating some pieces around. And there we have him. There is Dragon Megatron, and there is another mode that I neglected to show you guys, but that's because it's stupid. And that was his vehicle mode, as I'm setting up my shot. And all you do is you just squat him down, and he has some wheels in his legs, and it's really dumb. So I didn't show you, because this is the other mode that we all really care about. His robot mode. And like I said, it's not as good as the dragon mode, guys. It just really isn't. But it is pretty good, so let's take a look at it. Bringing him up closer to the camera, we can see he has this kind of visor thing here. But underneath is a very Beast Megatron face. And I really like the face. But I don't like the head because you can't do anything with the head. It doesn't rotate. It doesn't do anything. And you're very likely to have this visor down covering his eyes. I do like that it can rise up, but it's going to fall down quite often. He also has an issue in his legs where his feet don't quite like to line up with each other, and it makes him stand a little lopsided sometimes, and you really have to play around with it to get it to work right, which is more of a pain than an actual issue, but it is an issue. And coming to his dragon arm, this is the part of the robot mode that I have the most issue with. In the series, his arms were more proportionate than this. And I understand why they did this. His one obtrusive gimmick is this little crank here, which allows you to sort of control how the arm looks. And you're supposed to be able to lock it in, but mine has never done that. I think, though, if we had done away with that and gotten a more proportionate figure, this figure would have been better overall. One of the other issues I have with this mode, and one of the reasons I can't like this figure as much as I should, having liked the character so much, is the size. He is not nearly as big, and that was my second issue. I might as well talk about it first, since it already happened. He is a little bit back heavy. But yes, his size. He is not as big a robot as he is a dragon. As you can see, in this mode, animated Megatron towers over him. When your transformation makes you less threatening, I think that's when you really have a problem. So while I like this guy a lot, I can't call him the best Megatron. It's not that he's substandard or anything. His paint job is great, as you can see. There's very little chipping on his chrome bits. A lot of gradients, a lot of really cool fiery colors. His articulation, outside of his head not having any, is pretty much what you would expect. I mean, he's even got kind of an elbow with the bendy dragon neck. But he's just not as good as I would have liked him to be, which is really a shame. I ordered this guy maybe a couple years ago, and my brother-in-law and I are both into Transformers, and we loved this character, and he actually threatened me with physical harm when he found out I had ordered this guy before he had. It was kind of funny. And when I got it, I mean, we both took a look at him, and we both like him, but he's just not as good as we wanted him to be, and it's really a shame. So no, guys, this is not the definitive Megatron for the modern age, as much as I want it to be. Now, do I recommend this figure? Yes, I do, if you can still find it. It's hard to find, especially complete. Mine's incomplete. He's supposed to have a missile here. And there's my dogs jumping around in the background, shaking their collars. He's supposed to have a missile up here that launches with this. There's a button up here. I think there's a couple other parts that are missing. I have a feeling he's supposed to be able to hold something. But if you can find him, get him. Especially if you find him complete. He's worth a lot more complete. Mine I got... Sorry about the dogs. Mine I got for a decent price online, secondhand. It wasn't through eBay, it was through a different site. I'm trying to remember what it was called. And I really can't. If I ever remember, I will make an addendum to this video and let you guys know. But it's a good site to find Transformers. I found this, and I found several classic guys on there for good prices, and I'm really happy with the price I spent on him. The only issue is he is difficult to find nowadays, so it's kind of a toss-up whether or not you'll be able to acquire him anyway. But if you find him, get him, especially if you like Beast Wars. He is a great addition to your Beast Wars collection. He's one of the better Beast Megatrons, I think, because Transmetal Megatron had a really serious issue with his waist coming undone. In fact, that's why this isn't a review of Transmetal Megatron. And the original Beast Megatron, I think, was too gimmicky and too big for what I've actually seen of him. I haven't actually played with that toy in years. But yes, this, guys, not the definitive version of Megatron, but I think the definitive version of Beast Megatron, and it really does deserve a place in your collection if you can find it. Tomorrow, we are moving on to yet another Megatron, surprisingly enough. But first, before I talk about that, I want to apologize for not being able to get this video up as fast as I wanted to. Kind of forgot it was the 4th of July. I know, it's silly, but I did. So I got held up, ended up spending some time with family on the 4th of July, and then again on the 5th of July, as, you know, not all members of my family could celebrate the holiday on the same day. And while I'm not too worried about celebrating the 4th of July myself, it is nice to spend time with family, as I'm sure many of you guys know. But the celebration is over, and I'm able to make videos again. And so we have gotten Megatron Week back on track. Tomorrow, we are going to take a look at actually a couple of Megatrons. We're going to take a look at the Cyberverse Megatrons that I have in my collection. And there's not many of them, but they do deserve a look because they are all pretty good. This has been Awesome John 22, and I will talk to you guys later.